Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the parent whisperer, and today with me, I have an amazing lady, Miss Shivanii Ray. Thank you, Shivanii, for being here and taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us. And thank you, audience members, for being here. Now, Shivanii has been on a couple of different stages where I have seen her, and I love how she carries herself and the message. So I wanted to ask her to come and share that with you guys today. Can you tell us a little bit more, Shivani, about how you come to do what you do and why this is an important topic? And we'll go from there.
Sure thing. So firstly, thank you so much for having me. And my journey's been a little bit unconventional in terms of how I was raised. And I think we should start there because it really is what brought me to where I am today. So my family in 2010, I was raised in California. And in 2010, we received a phone call that essentially said that we had to leave the United States. And from there, we decided to do something a little crazy. And we packed up 4 bags, sold 95% of our stuff, and decided to travel. And so for 5 years, my sister and I global schooled while traveling a lot of India and Asia and the globe. And we got to learn through experiences. We got to learn about things that are not necessarily taught in school. And one of those things are financial literacy. Unfortunately, it's not taught in a lot of schools. And we were able to be exposed to a lot of different types of learning. And the money matters and just being aware of that was part of it. So fast forward, to now, I'm working with a company called Financial Freedom, and we teach financial literacy to kids and teens in a fun way. We like to bring the fun back into finance. So, because of that unconventional upbringing, the passion of teaching things that are not necessarily taught in school is why I felt so aligned with what we're doing now.
I love it. I know that it was a struggle to get me through school. I always joke about how it's a miracle that I actually became a doctor and I lasted as long as I did in academia because I've hated it ever since first grade. And I recall my grandfather always telling me that the best university is the world university, basically, where you learn the stuff. So I'm so jealous and envious that you actually got to experience that yourself. So really cool. All right, so this topic of financial literacy, especially for children, and is a really important one. And we know that you see the effects of it in families. Many people are living paycheck to paycheck and things like that. But what's more important is that when it comes to numbers, that's one of the things that oftentimes is not discussed, for instance, in some families. In many other families, it's looked at, but it's kind of looked at with dread. And believe it or not, I personally believe that it can actually be a fun thing to do. So tell us a little bit as far as what are some of the things, because the love of learning about finances is important and the literacy about it and the implication of it. What does it mean for somebody to be financially literate? Let's talk about that first.
So I think it's just essentially just being smart about money matters and having the right habits around money in place. But something that I think is even more important is your money mindset. Given that we're talking to a lot of parents here, something worth considering and taking note of is how is your relationship to money? What does money make you feel? And if you start asking yourself these questions, you're going to realize a lot of things that you may not have been aware of with your relationship with money and how it's affecting your children. A lot of times I've had several conversations with parents and kids about how they view money and how it's very different in terms of their mindset around it from parent to child. So one thing that's really easy to spot is the way we think about money as parents. A lot of the times, I'm not a parent, but I've spoken to a lot of parents, and a lot of times they say that, oh, you're thinking about security, how to be making sure that we have everything in place, making sure that your kids have everything in place financially. Kids, however, they're not viewing money from that space. They're viewing money from the place of lifestyle and travel and wanting to buy things, and that's okay. But there's this disconnect of communication when it comes to money matters between parents and kids, and a lot of times it comes down to these main parts about money and the thinking about money. So, a great way to bridge that and to get kids to actually start building healthy habits automatically is by aligning the lessons with something that the kid or teen wants. So, let's say, a child wants to buy this new game, this new go on vacation, go out to a movie, whatever it is. Have something that they actually want to work towards and teach them how to earn the money to get that, because automatically they're going to start learning how to save. They're going to start learning how to think about money, the value of a dollar or whatever currency that you have. They're automatically going to start learning the right habits because they're moving towards something that aligns with what they want. So that's one way to go about it. A really simple thing that parents and kids can implement straight away is something that we have as part of our program, which is a simple saving system. So any money that they make, they receive from grandparents, birthdays, holidays, they split it up 4 ways. So they split it up between spend. So 50% goes into spend because you're gonna want to spend. You're gonna want to, go and purchase things. 20% goes into save. 20% goes into invest, and 10% goes into give. So giving is giving back to charities or a cause that you can choose as family or that your child feels aligned to do. So it gets them thinking about money in various different ways about what it's capable of for yourself and others. If you look at some of the wealthiest people in the world, they all have similar habits around money. And one of those things is giving back to charities and nonprofits and all that kind of stuff. But another piece that a lot of people, when it comes to learning about money for kids, is that they don't tend to focus on investing. And kids tend to find that stuff out when they're in their 20s, 30s, and so on, when they should really start investing and start putting those practices in place early, because compounding, it will
Right.
grow immensely over the time if they start much younger. So we tell all of our kids and teens and parents within our program to follow that really simple method, because it gets them starting on these it gets them to start these healthy habits around money early
Right.
on. So just a couple things to just note.
So Shivani, actually what you're mentioning, you're talking about habits, these lifestyle habits, basically. And of course, I come from the background of health. So when we're talking about habits, it's the applicability to everyday life that ultimately makes the difference. With kids, it's the real life experiences that really registers with them. And these life experiences, some of it involves health, some of it involves finance, some of it involves relationships, right? And so what you're describing is really, really important, not only for the kids to see that, yeah, there's this thing called money and it doesn't grow on trees, as they say, but also how that applies and, the kind of the applicability of it. In our circles, we talk about how when you eat a certain food, connecting it to the way you feel, for instance, or the way you perform. And when kids see that, they understand the importance of their choices in their lifestyle. And same thing here, right? So when they make a certain decision that let's go ahead and spend it all on the video games and candy, then then I don't have any money left to invest. I don't have any money to go ahead and give. I can't take on new projects or learn new things. Those are all things that they have to exercise using that financial exercise and finances to do that. So I love everything that you're saying. So a more specific question, this you said needs to happen earlier on. What's the earliest you think is a good time to discuss money with kids?
I think as soon as they um let me answer it this way. I think that firstly, we shouldn't hide money matters from kids regardless of age. I think that it's a natural thing. We're all going to use money at some point in time. So don't hide money. So So when you're saying start the conversation of money, I don't think there ever should be a, okay, let's introduce this brand new topic. I think it should be something that kids are aware of straight off the bat as they're growing up. And now if you want to have an actual conversation and start going a little bit more into, okay, this is what this is, and this is what this is, and this is a debit card, and this is the value of a dollar, and what can it do, like the very more technical side of things, the more, okay, let's put these habits in place. I think as soon as they can understand and speak, and they can have some awareness, that's a perfect time to start. We have kids that are putting these habits in places, straight off from, just little piggy banks at home, and they're like, 3-4 years old, that are having piggy banks. But even those little things, even they may not understand it at the time, it gets them thinking about it moving forward, and they'll be in a much better place when they actually start understanding and being able to implement it on their own. So like our program, we've tailored it to be for like kids ages around 7 to 17. That's what we say. But we have kids younger, we have kids older, we have parents going through our program. So I think when it comes to introducing money matters, it should be something that's just spoken about regardless of age.
Right. I love it. And I think in many cases, the parents are actually more difficult to train than the kids.
Of course, because there's previous conditioning, there's limited thinking around things, and that's why we say start earlier, because that conditioning won't happen if we break that and we start introducing money matters early. Something that I say all the time, my number one thing I say for everywhere I go is simply talk about money. That's it. That's just talk about it. Like, yes, you can put in the healthy habits, and please do those things. But even if you just talk about money, you're going to be, setting up your kids for far more success than most parents and most families, because a lot of times money is a taboo subject that parents don't tend to talk about with their kids until the point where they have to. And a lot of that times when they get to the have to situations, it's probably a heavier time in life where either they're struggling financially, or the first decision a child or teen makes is to go into debt, student loans. It's such a big thing. And so if that's your first introduction to real conversation around money, is that really setting up your kids for success? In my opinion, I don't think so. And that's why we say start the conversation early and talk about money.
Exactly. One of the things that I actually remember when it comes to addressing money is that pre-adolescent children, because of what you mentioned, that they don't have the preconditioning and the experience that creates limiting beliefs, they're sometimes great at ideating and coming up with new ideas. And through my years that I have worked with parents, many of them say they want their kids to grow up to lead happy, healthy, and full lives, right? And some of them, the finances is not even on the radar. But the reality is, like you mentioned, investing. And investing and practicing making decisions about investing is a great way to actually understand risk assessment. And
Mhm.
this risk assessment doesn't just end in finances. It involves picking people and friends that you hang out with, or career paths, and all kinds of other stuff that can ultimately alter your life course. So getting this thing started, getting them to think in that sense while they're still under your roof, it's an amazing opportunity to share that experience with them and watch them grow, understand risk, and understand giving and all of those things. So I really, really think this is a super duper important topic that most people basically chase money all their lives, and they say it's not everything, yet the most important asset that they have, which is their time, is almost fully devoted to this kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and address this. How can people find out more about what you do and follow you and connect with you?
Of course. So, of course, you have all the different links already, but a great way and the easiest way to connect with us is either by going straight to financialfreedom.com or going to financial.freedom on Instagram or financial freedom on Facebook. We're on all the different social platforms, so feel free to reach out to us, send us a message. Be more than happy to connect. And then also, if you want to personally connect with myself, Instagram is the best place for me. So Shivanii Ray, you can look that anywhere and I'll be there.
Awesome. Awesome. I will be sure to go ahead and put all the links in the description box of this video. So, um, guys, this is not just for your kids. This is actually for your own good as well. You might want to go ahead and check the description box, look at all the different resources that Shivanii has provided for you. It's a great way to actually bring the family together, have discussions, and connect and bond in a bigger way. And this is something that eventually every parent, their relationship with their child evolves from being a parent-child relationship to almost like a friendship as the kids become young adults and adults. And wouldn't it be great for them to be able to have conversations about finances with you as an adult? And that practice can start while they're young. So definitely connect with Shivanii on that. And if you still haven't done so, make sure that you click like and subscribe to the channel so you get notified of all the experts and the expertise that they bring to the channel and the gifts that they share here on Experts Cafe. Shivanii, thank you so much for taking the time being here. Before we finish, any parting words for our audience members?
Yeah, just have the conversation with money matters around your kids. And if you need a resource to start those conversations, definitely go to getfunbook.com and you can get a free download of our book called Rethink Money for Children and Teens that you can use to start those conversations.
Nice. That's very generous. I really appreciate that. Yeah, especially for all those teens that are asking for extra money and extra toys and extra computers and devices. Just tell them how to go ahead and create their own funding for that. That would be great. Absolutely. Thank you guys. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Cheers.